neo-Marxist worldview. And I choose the neo-Marxist worldview because really in our culture, we've had this massive shift to where now the predominant assumptions from which people are operating are these neo-Marxist assumptions, not necessarily classical Marxist assumptions, but more neo-Marxist assumptions. Classical Marxist assumptions, more economic assumptions, right? Naturalistic materialism as well, but the separation between the haves and the have-nots, the bourgeois and the proletariat, those who control the means of production, those who don't. But in cultural Marxism, it's different than that. We have this whole oppressor-oppressed paradigm, this idea of a hegemonic power. So in the neo-Marxist idea, who am I? I am an intersectional representation of the various groups to which I belong. I am an intersectional representation of the various groups to which I belong, okay? That's the cultural Marxist answer. That's the neo-Marxist answer. Again, underneath that is this same evolutionary idea. But at the end of the day, I'm a representative of the various intersectional groups to which I belong. I'm a representative of the various constituencies that I represent, okay? And we hear this all the time, right? We hear this in politics all the time. How's he or she doing with this group of people? How's he or she doing with that group of people, right? Not who is this person, not, what are their positions, not what's the merit of their positions. How's their messaging doing with this intersectional group? How's their messaging doing with that intersectional group? And then we judge people not on the merit of their arguments or their positions or their track record, but we tend to measure them based on the merit of the various intersectional groups with whom they identify or who identify with them. So if this candidate is popular with this intersectional group that we've deemed evil, white, male, cisgendered, heterosexual, native-born, able-bodied, right, on down to Christian, right, at the end of that, right, if you're doing with those good with those people, you're doing good with the oppressor group. And if the oppressor group likes you, doesn't matter what's coming out of your mouth, right? The oppressor group likes you, then that means you're advancing the hegemonic, oppressive power. You're a bad person because they like you, okay? So why am I here? Well, I am here to participate in this power struggle. If I am part of the oppressive group, then I am here to oppress people unless and until I'm made to stop oppressing people. If I'm part of one of the oppressed groups, then I am here to fight the power of the oppressor, right? And to somehow get the oppressor to cede power by force if necessary, and it's always necessary. Amen? Because according to my worldview, the oppressor will never cede power voluntarily, okay? What is wrong with the world? Well, what is wrong with the world is that the hegemonic oppressors are in power. That's how we explain everything that's wrong. We define wrong by disparity. So if there's any kind of disparity, by the way, we got to be really careful with disparity too, because it's disparities that we don't like, right? The neo-Marxists will say that they have a problem with disparities, but they don't mean that. What they mean is we have a problem with disparities that we don't like. And particularly, we have a problem with disparities until they don't fit our narrative, okay? So if there's a disparity in incarceration, that fits our worldview, that fits our narrative, we press that. If there's a disparity of more black people in the NBA, 60, I mean, NBA is like 70% plus, NFL 60% plus. That's a disparity, but we don't talk about that. Those disparities are not evil. Other disparities are evil. If there's a disparity with, women in a particular career, STEM, that's oppression. That's oppression. More women in college than men, stop talking about that. Not as many women digging ditches or picking up trash. Hush your mouth. Okay? So again, we're selective about the disparities, okay? But the problem, what's wrong with the world? It's the hegemonic oppression. How can what is wrong be made right? The oppressor has to be forced to cede his power to those who are oppressed. And when that happens, it will usher in utopia. Just don't read Animal Farm. Just don't read Animal Farm, right? It won't happen like that. It won't happen like that. Because once the oppressor is gone, those oppressed groups will never, ever oppress one another.